Hi, this is Dr. Eric, reminding you to check the link below to get your copy of the PDF that accompanies this Masterclass video. Thanks. Dr. Eric, True North Chiropractic. What you just saw was a demonstration of what we typically see in our society today. People using their electronic devices. They're in a flex position where the spine is kind of caved forward, the head is protruding forward, and that puts a lot of stress and strain, especially into the back of the head, the back of the neck, whether you're using something like an iPad or your mobile phone, any electronic device, basically where you kind of slouch forward. The term that we typically use is called tech neck. So today we're going to be talking about how to get rid of tech neck and addressing what the signs and symptoms of tech neck are. Okay? So tech neck, it involves phones, it involves computers, any electronic device, anything that's going to actually bring your posture forward where you're actually having your head in this position. So I could be reading a book, I could be doing documents, I could be doing anything in this position where everything is kind of crouched forward. It's not just an older person's problem anymore. You know, usually we would say, look at grandma, look at grandpa, they've got that stooped forward posture, their head is kind of craning forward. You know, we say it looks like a turtle, but we're seeing this crop up more and more in our younger population, especially the younger kids. You know, I don't know about you, but I didn't have a cell phone until I was in my mid-20s. You know, I was taught to sit up nice and tall. Mom was right, unfortunately, you know, but fortunately too, because that's what kind of helps us to keep up nice and tall. So this posture that I'm demonstrating right now, this is something that most of us don't consciously think about when we're going through a day-to-day world, but it is quite important. The other concern that I have with people who are having this tech neck problem, this kind of slouching forward position, is I do fear that, you know, the children in today and all the younger people and the middle-aged people of today, 10, 15, 20 years possibly down the road, we may start to see a spike and a surge of cases where a lot of people are going in with this unrelenting pain. Physical therapy is not helping anymore. Chiropractic is not helping anymore. All the other, professions, acupuncture, massage, people say, oh, my treatments just don't hold like they used to, and it's because of this progression over time where that neck kind of cranes forward, and what ends up happening is you're starting to change the structure of the bones, you're starting to change the structure of the ligaments, the muscle tissues that hold everything in place, and of course the nervous system, which is quite delicate. It's the most sensitive system that we have in the human body. It's encased in bone, that's how sensitive it is, and when all that kind of collapses forward, you're actually shifting the tissues themselves. Think about it like a worn out shoe, right? One heel is more worn down than the other, so the shoes don't fit you, they're not as comfortable as they once were. So we may start to see in the future cases where people are going in for repeat spinal injections, possible cervical fusions, some upper back thoracic fusions, and that does scare me because we never used to have these problems before, and now all of a sudden we may start to see these crop up in the future. So we can actually start to prevent it today by making sure that we pay attention to our posture, because the way you do anything is the way you do everything. So just really make sure that you're paying attention to your posture. What are the causes of tech neck? For the most part, I believe that it's posture driven. So we have our ligaments, we have our muscle tissues, and they're designed to hold us upright against gravity. Your head weighs about as much as a bowling ball, and for every, I'll turn sideways, for every inch forward that my head progresses forward, I'm adding the equivalent of another head's weight in terms of what the neck muscles back here have to do just to hold me upright. So if this is ideal picture perfect posture and my head is roughly 3 inches forward, I've added 3 times the weight of my head in terms of what those muscle tissues have to do. And what that does is you're fatiguing the muscle tissues and you're fatiguing the ligaments, you're actually stretching them over time. So what happens is when you kind of reach that point of no return, you have a loss of strength, you have a loss of range of motion, and oftentimes people, they'll come in and they'll say, doc, I just can't turn my head as far to the left, or I just can't turn my head as far to the right. And that's a problem, especially with things like driving a car, right? I don't want you to guess when you're changing lanes. That's not cool. Also too, when the head is flexed forward, you're putting a lot of strain and a lot of pressure on the nervous system. The nervous system is actually quite robust. You know, it is responsible for everything that we do in terms of the healing of our body and things like that. So when our nervous system is less stressed because our muscle tissues are in an ideal position and everything is holding together, your body is running optimally. But what ends up happening is once everything starts to slouch forward, you put a stress and a strain on the nervous system, and sometimes your recovery becomes problematic. You don't heal as fast as you used to. So how long does tech neck last? That really does depend. How many hours a day are you sitting with bad posture? Is it just at work? How's your car? Is your seat positioned optimally? When you get home at the end of the day, do you have a crummy couch where you're kind of slouching forward like this and everything kind of cranes forward? Are you doing anything to strengthen the tissues themselves? Are you going to the gym? Are you doing the appropriate exercises to strengthen those tissues? Or do you just, do yoga and stretch and go for a jog? Those are great exercises for the body, but in terms of strengthening and supporting the structures of the upper shoulders and the cervical spine, you need to do a little bit more. And if you're going to the gym, are you doing things that are helpful for your body or hurting your body? Do you have good form when you go to the gym? These are some small things that we have to look at on an individual basis so that we can best help you and design a protocol and a care plan that suits your specific needs and your lifestyle. Are you using any ice? Are you using any heat when you have, symptoms of tech neck? Or do you just kind of leave it be, pop a pill and hopefully it goes away tomorrow morning? Those are short-term solutions, but you do get some benefit with ice and heat, and it is a natural form as opposed to taking some over-the-counter medication, which does have a saturation point where eventually it stops working. How do you avoid tech neck? One of the ways to avoid tech neck is to just observe your posture. How is your work position built? Is everything kind of raised up to eye level? Do you have a standing desk? If you're in a job where you have to use a phone, are you using a mobile phone that's very, very small and kind of pinches the tissues on this side of the neck? Or do you have a phone that has a bit more of a cradle? Can you put the phone on speakerphone? Do you have a headset that you can wear? These are some of the modifications that'll help you avoid tech neck. When you are using your electronic devices or when you're at work, what kind of screen time are you at? We see a lot of these little kids, they're on their phone as much as mom and dad will allow, and it grates their teeth when they see that their kids have been on an electronic device for multiple hours in a very, very poor postural position. So again, when these kids are younger, the body is a little bit more resilient, but as they get older, you start to lose that window, and then they'll start to say, Mom, Dad, I have this pain. And they'll say, well, you're just a kid. How can you have pain? And then from a chiropractic perspective or if an x-ray is warranted, we can actually see that the curvature is starting to change, and that's not good. It's setting them up later in life for potential problems. Also, when we look at how to avoid tech neck, a lot of it is posture driven. So again, if we get you to observe your posture and you find that there is room for improvement, sitting up nice and tall, bringing the shoulders back, having the head come up, the chest come up, what this does is it helps to relax the muscle tissues in the front of the neck. It helps to give a little bit of a break to the muscle tissues behind that you can't see. And that's going to help hold me nice and upright. And this is a much more forgiving position than me doing this. We talked about fixing your workstation, making sure that when you're in front of a computer that the computer monitor is raised up to eye level. Perhaps you have to bring the computer closer to you, maybe changing the size of the font. A larger font helps to reduce eye strain when I'm squinting at the screen, and then also making sure that the screen is nice and bright to minimize squinting. A lot of people, they're wearing those blue light lens glasses. So if you're someone who doesn't currently wear glasses, it's an easy option. If you're someone who does wear glasses and you're due for a new prescription, something to consider talking to your optometrist about, adding that blue lens screen as a filter. What that does is that really helps to prevent some of the UV damage that comes in through the computer screen, but also helps with your posture as well. So you can kind of have your cake and you can eat it too. A lot of people, they're optioning to do a standing desk. If your employer or if you're self-employed and getting standing desk is not feasible, they do make smaller, more affordable standing desks that actually sit on top of your existing desk, and you can actually bring them up when you need to and then drop them back down as well. When you're using your phones, I'm big on this. When we have people sitting in my waiting room and I see them tinkering with the computer, once they're in a treatment room and I say to them privately, I say, hey, I think I know why you got that neck pain. They say, oh, Doc, how do you know I got that neck pain? I said, your electronic device. I said, what do you mean? I said, pull out your phone, send a text message. And I see them doing like this. I said, I want you to stop. And they stop. I said, bring that computer, that electronic device, bring it to eye level and do that same thing. And I said, oh, this feels better, right? Or one of my favorite examples is I had a patient that came in one time and they were having this pain that was going down both of their arms, and they were a younger individual, early 20s, and they couldn't figure out where they were having their pain. And I said, take out your phone and I want you to just browse on your phone for a minute or two. I'll be right back. So I left the room and I came back and I said, do you have any pain right now down your arm? He said, oh boy, it came back quite badly. And I said, okay, now I want you to tinker on your phone, bring it up to eye level. I'm going to give you about another 30 seconds and I'm going to come back. So I left and I came back. I said, how's your symptoms? They said, you know what, they let up a little bit. And I said, I think I know what it is. It's this thing right here. So by just having that person sit up nice and tall, I actually reduce some of the strain into the base of their cervical spine, because the actual disc and the nerves were actually being compressed. There's a little bit of a shearing force. So we're able to take that away and help that person. So we taught them some corrective exercises. We put them on a very conservative chiropractic protocol. They got better quite quickly, and now they're able to take those reinforced habits, patterns, and behaviors and move forward with minimal invasiveness in terms of no injections, no medications, no spinal stuff, all that good stuff. So the call to action. So if you are someone that has tech neck, you're constantly that person who's always rubbing the back of their neck, they're always rubbing their shoulders, they're always going to get a massage, and they say, I feel great, but then 2 days later my pain comes back, I don't know what it is, you're barking up the wrong tree. Massage is great, there's absolutely a place for massage, but what we want to do first is we want to teach you the basics of what's going on with your symptoms, so we can help you feel better and help you do better and help you navigate the world a lot easier, as opposed to always trying to play from behind. We want you to play from ahead. We want to teach you how to fish, and that comes with a phone call to my office or an email. It all starts with a conversation. The goal is to help you to feel better, to help you do better, and one of the ways to do that is to talk to somebody, right? If you're not the right person for my office, I'll let you know. I'll tell you where you need to go, but oftentimes it is the correct place for patients to start. So if that's something that you need to do, you can check out our details below. Okay?